How's it going, guys? First real video here on the new channel, and I'm excited about this one. So, YouTube, we love these top 10 videos, but I think I'd like to start with a tier list video. Why, you ask? Well, I hope once you see this video, you can start to see what my tastes are, what I like, what I dislike, things like that. So, let's just jump right into it. So, we got our little tier list here. We got a top 20 book for me. I've only read maybe 80 to 90 books, but always have those top lists, right? Got a great read, things I really enjoyed, things that some books that were good, but not top level, right? Then we got the enjoyable, wasn't too bad. I wasn't a great fan of it, but I enjoyed reading it. Then you got the was okay. It wasn't. I haven't read a book yet that I haven't wanted to finish yet, but I think as we get through these very famous and great books, we'll start to reach that time. But for now, was okay is it was okay. And then of course we got barely finished, and fortunately there were I think two on this list that were that kind of quality. So let's just jump right into it and start with a very interesting book, one that I think Matt's fantasy reviews really got me excited about. The Sword of Kaigen by Emil Wong, right? So this is a great book to start with because there's a lot of Japanese influence in it, right? So as I was reading it, it was very interesting to see these Japanese words and things that I knew both of, both English and Japanese. So overall, I thought it was a very great, very decent book. There were some parts I really liked about it, especially the fight scenes and the magic that eventually came out, the different clans, kind of like an Avatar situation. But the middle, I think the middle really just trogged along for a little while, especially. I don't think the characters really advanced a lot, especially the mom. I think she could have shown herself more quickly in the book. It was almost a 600-page book, and we didn't really flesh out her story until the last about 100 pages. So, unfortunately, I wouldn't say it was a top 20 book, but because of the Japanese influence and personally, I thought it was a very great read. I know a lot of other YouTubers really rave about the book, so eh, it was a great read. Next, we got The Son of the Black Sword by Larry Correia. And honestly, I really dug this book. This was one of those books where you just enjoy it. The main character, you really connect with him, right? He's this stubborn ass guy who you just you want to root for. And as the story progressed and as he started to really show the cracks in his beliefs and his life, you could really feel what he was going through. He has this core value that he just wants to maintain and has for a long time, but once he found out the truth and had to deal with the consequences of that truth, it really it really elevated the book for me. I think the overall story, the characters, and above all the growth of the characters was something that really made this a top 20 book for me. I'm currently reading the second book, and I'm hoping that it continues the trend of just building on this character that you want to hate, but you just can't. Followed by, you know, everyone loves him, Brando Sando. We got Brandon Sanderson here with the Sunlit Man. I think this was Secret Project number 4. Uh, I've read a lot of Brandon Sanderson the last year and a half. It was one of the first, I think the third book I read was Mistborn. So I've really dug into this Cosmere, and I'm a big fan of it. Personally, I think The Sunlit Man was the best secret project. I know that's not a popular take, but most people was either Tress or You Mean the Nightmare Painter, but I think the story, especially the chase and the just the characters, again, the characters were very fleshed out and made me really want to learn more about this world. But unfortunately, it's a standalone book, so we won't learn more about that planet. But I think the way that the main character was introduced and just jumping right into it really pushed this book up for me. I wouldn't say it's a top 20 book, but I think it was definitely a great read. I think that the more I read from Sanderson, I realize how different this book felt for me. I think it had a different structure, especially having the characters realize their potential was very nice. Next, we got Sabriel. It's part of the however you say that, by Garth Nix. Hot take coming here, but I was not the biggest fan. I think it was very YA. Personally, I love a good uh, school story, but unfortunately, the school aspect of it was maybe 5 to 10 pages. I think the actual story was very just didn't it didn't pull me in as much as I was told it would, and unfortunately, I heard that the sequels are kind of very similar. So I don't know if I'll be continuing with this series, but I think very I can see why people like it, right? It's a very easy to like book and something that I think maybe if I was younger, I would have liked it more. But for me, especially the companion, I wasn't really. He didn't really get me right. I didn't like the companion along with the main character, but we're just have to gonna go. Uh, I mean, I wasn't disappointed reading it, right? I was like, okay, I can see it. I'm not. I wasn't offended when I picked up my Kindle, right? I think it was a very meh book, so was okay. We'll put it right there. Here we go now. This is this this next book, Disquiet Gods, the second to last book from our good friend Christopher Rocchio. Now, this is a series I want to talk about later, more in depth about, especially because each book is very. I think each book in the series is a masterpiece, right? I think they do so many great things differently. Personally, I think Disquiet Gods, it's not my favorite, but it's not my least favorite in the series. I think what this book did well is kind of expand the world, right? Especially in this series, you start real small on this planet, and you just work your way here. And I think with this book, we finally reached a place where we're out of the universe, right? The places that this book takes us are very interesting. I think the moral dilemma and the religious aspect of this book really pushed it up for me. Uh, the things I didn't like, uh, not many, right? I think almost everything really clicked with me. Uh, when they went to, I don't want to spoil it, so I won't talk too much into it. But when they went to this planet, I liked it. I liked what they did on the planet, but I think the solution and the ending to that little saga right there left a few things to be desired. But overall, this was a very, very great book. And if you haven't started this series, like almost every book, fantasy booktuber says, you got to jump into it right away. Like this was the first book I actually bought outside of using Libby and getting all my books for free. So I had to read it real quick, and there we are. Followed up by Illborn, another book that I picked up because of other booktubers, by Daniel T. Jackson, I think. Yeah, it is a mm, it's a book. I think it's a book with four people, four different stories that some of them come together, that some of them are still stranded out there. That I think really needs to. I really wish all four of them connected in this book, right? I know there's a sequel, and I plan to read it, but I maybe it's because of how hyped up this book was from some of these other YouTubers, but I enjoyed it, but it wasn't something I was dying to read as soon as work got over, right? As soon as work gets home, I get home, start reading a book. I never got that feeling, right? So I think Illborn is an enjoyable read. I'm hoping that the sequel can really elevate this series for me. I think the cliffhanger it ended on was very interesting, and it pulled me back in. So yeah, we'll take it from there. But Illborn was it was enjoyable. Next, The Hexologists by Josiah Bancroft. Hmm. I've heard good things about this author. I think he won a few awards, Hugos and stuff like that. So I was really interested. I enjoy the magical system that was in this book, but I think overall, the story, right? It's kind of like a heist, not a heist, but a kind of fuck me. Next up, we got The Hexologists by Josiah Bancroft. This was a book I was looking forward to. I think it's recently released this year or last year, and as soon as it became available, I picked it up and a little disappointed, I'll be honest. I loved the magic and the way that they did uh, they integrated the magic into the world, but I think the actual characters, the two main characters, I connected with one of them, but the second one, it was it was just there, right? I think especially the background. I like the world building, the overarching story with the society was very interesting, and if I do read the sequel, I think that would be the main reason why. I wasn't a big fan of the problem solving and who done it part of this story, but I mean, it was okay. I think it's better than Sabriel, but I wish mm, I wish it delved more in depth about why the enemy, right there, the antagonist was thinking what it was doing. But overall, it was okay. Followed up by The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. Now, this was one of those books that some people love, some people hate this whole series, right? The Lycanius trilogy. It's a very what's the word to describe it? It's a book. Nah, we got more in depth than that, but it does a lot. Is the best way to put it. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of things we don't know about, and I hear that the third book has one of the best endings of all time that I'm excited to eventually read, but I think there's too many threads going on in one book that I wish a few more of them could have tied up or moved on to the sequel. The cliffhanger wasn't there that really pushed me to read the next book like some of these other series have. So I will be reading the second book, and I think next month is a plan for that. But it was an enjoyable read. I think it was better than Illborn, but there might just be too much stuff going on in my view, right? Followed up with The Martyr by Anthony Ryan, and this is the second book of the Covenant of Steel trilogy. Now, I really liked the first book in this series, The Pariah. I think the whole first half of that book was just amazing. The You take this character who's just down in the dumps, and someone raised him up, and then eventually something happens to the group of people there, and it really pushes the story forward. And then they join this religious aspect of it that I somewhat enjoy. I enjoyed part of the leader, the whole Messiah complex that the the main character gets involved with, right? He's in this world where everything is just top down and having to fit in, and he eventually gets there. But for this second book, I love the ending. The ending is what really pushed me to start reading the third book. Uh, the cliffhanger that it ended on really made you want to continue. But leading up to that, I think it was kind of a slow burn. I expected more progress, right? You get these stories, and it's just like parts and parts that are leading somewhere, and you know what it's leading to because of the ending now, the ending of this book. But I wanted to see uh, more progress, right? More pushing towards the characters, uh, and especially the relationships that he has. They did something in this book where they split up the main character and another character that they were together for a while, and they split them up, which I don't know. I'm hoping there's a reason in the third book, but I wasn't a fan of that decision. I know why he decided to do it, but not the biggest fan of that. But it was a very enjoyable read. I think it's a little better than Illborn, but not as good as Shadow of What Was Lost, right? You gotta put it right on there. And our last book, and Golden Enclaves by Naomi Novik. Novik, yeah, that's the name. And this is the third book in the Scholomance trilogy. Now, before I start on this book, right, I thought the first book in this series was really good. I personally love a school setting, right? I love the whole. I loved the author's take on this school setting, right? You have this whole school that is just trying to kill you. It is a Harry Potter that is trying to kill you, and you just have to survive, which I thought was a very interesting take. And as this series has progressed, it's of course the school becomes a just a background character, and they exit the school, and you get this new story. And I was not a fan. I really did not click with a lot of the non-school aspects of this book, especially the ending. Uh, you knew what was going to happen as soon as you started reading the first part of this book. You could foretell this ending way too soon, and I mean, I'll be honest, it just wasn't the best book for me. I'm glad I read all the books in this series, but personally, I hate when the last book is the worst one because that's the lasting memory for you, right? You see this last book that you want to really push yourself to enjoy, but uh, for me, mm, I wouldn't say I barely finished it, so I can't really put it on that tier, but it was getting there. The more, if this was a longer book, luckily it was a shorter book. If it was a longer book, it probably would have gotten there, but it just the whole series lost steam as it was going. So there's the last 10 books I have personally read. I plan to read a lot in the coming month and a half. I got a lot of traveling to do, so I have a lot of time to read. Luckily, school is in summer break, so I have some free time, and I want to make some videos, get better, learn how to talk better. So I hope you join me on this journey. It'll definitely be a learning experience for me, and as I improve, I hope to talk more with you guys, right? My main goal is to see what you guys like, how you look at this tier list, and what is your opinion on it, right? I've heard opinions about people who love Sabriel, and if you can in the comments, please tell me why you liked it, why you disliked some of the Black Swords, stuff like that. The communication and the back and forth is some of the best things I loved about that motivated me to be a YouTuber. So I hope I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep turning that page.